Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Storytime. Let's go ahead and sing our hello song, and then we'll get started. We clap our hands, hello. We clap our hands, hello. With our friends at Storytime, we clap our hands, hello. We wave our hands, hello. We wave our hands, hello. With our friends at Storytime, we wave our hands, hello. Well, guys, today we're supposed to have a special guest because it is Tooth Fairy Day, but I'm not sure where she is. So we've got a couple of stories about teeth the night before the Tooth Fairy and just, meeting the Tooth Fairy in general. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started reading those and hope she shows up. Rosie's Baby Tooth by Marianne McDonald, illustrated by Melissa Sweet. Rosie's baby tooth was coming out. Every day she wobbled it, just for fun. One day Rosie was playing dragon with Sid. Sid was trying to stab her with a carrot sword. Rosie bit the sword hard. The tooth came out. "Wow," said Sid. "You could put it under your pillow. The Tooth Fairy will give you 50 cents. Rosie looked at the tooth. It was white and smooth. It was her baby tooth, and now it was out. Rosie put her finger in the empty space. She felt a new tooth pushing up, a big tooth. "I'm not giving my baby tooth to the Tooth Fairy," said Rosie. "You have to," said Sid. "That's the way it's done." But Rosie did not want to give her baby tooth away, not even for 50 cents. "Rosie Posy, you've lost your tooth," said Daddy when he saw her. "What a big rabbit you are getting to be." But Rosie was not sure she wanted to be a big rabbit. "Sid said I have to put my tooth under my pillow for the Tooth Fairy," Rosie told her daddy. "Most rabbits do," said Daddy. "It's a pretty tooth," said Rosie. "It is," said Daddy. "Put it away. Keep it safe until bedtime." Rosie looked in the mirror. She smiled. Then she frowned. She did not look the same without her tooth. She did not want to lose another tooth, but she didn't know how to stop. Fat Matt sat eating a book. He was working on his baby teeth. Rosie made a monster face at him. Fat Matt laughed. He thought making faces was a new game. At bedtime, Daddy said, "Where is that pretty tooth?" "It's gone," said Rosie. "Gone," said Daddy. "Yes," said Rosie. "The Tooth Fairy won't get this tooth." "Oh," said Daddy. "Too bad for the Tooth Fairy. It was such a pretty tooth." "She has other ones," said Rosie. "Not like that," said Daddy. "No," said Rosie slowly. "Not like that." Rosie had an idea. "Let's write the Tooth Fairy a letter," she said. "We can tell her my tooth is gone." So Daddy helped Rosie write a letter. "Dear Tooth Fairy, Rosie's tooth is gone. It was pretty. She had it ever since she was a baby. It came out, but now it's gone. Too bad. Rosie and Daddy. P.S. Don't be sad. Maybe someday Rosie will have a tooth for you, but not yet." Rosie put the note under her pillow, then she went to sleep. In the morning, Rosie found a letter. Daddy read it to her at breakfast. "Dear Rosie, if you find your pretty tooth, give it to me. I will put it on a golden chain for you. Then you can wear it around your neck forever. The Tooth Fairy. P.S. Be happy. I can wait for more teeth." "Guess what?" said Rosie. "I think I know where the tooth might be." "You do?" said Daddy. "Yes," said Rosie. I'll go see if I can find it. Rosie got the tooth. My, said Daddy. That's it, all right. Put it in a safe place, said Rosie, and we'll leave it for the tooth fairy tonight. The next morning, Rosie found a golden chain beside her bed. Mama helped her put the chain around her neck. What a kind and clever fairy, said Mama. Think so, said Daddy. Yes, said Fat Matt. He slopped his baby oatmeal in his hair. But Rosie didn't say anything. She sat with her family and was happy, just as the Tooth Fairy had told her to be. And that is the end. The Night Before the Tooth Fairy by Natasha Wing, illustrated by Johansson Newman. 'Twas the night before the Tooth Fairy would come take my tooth. I'd been so excited ever since it got loose. My bottom tooth was dangling and twisting about. Tonight was the night it just had to come out. I wiggled it and waggled it for such a long while. My baby brother flashed me his funny toothless smile. Mom handed me an apple. She said, "Here, take a bite." "No, 'cause if I swallow it, guess who won't come tonight?" Dad said, "Let's yank it out with a doorknob and string." "No way, no how," I told him. "You're not going to do a thing." Then my brother grabbed our kitten, which scared our cockapoo, who knocked me right over, and out my tooth flew. My brother looked round the floor on his hands and knees. When he found it, picture time, we smiled and yelled cheese. Then I ran to the mirror, and what did I see? A cool gap in my smile where my tooth used to be. I could stick a straw through it, then sip up my drink, or pretend I'm a fountain and spray water in the sink. "All righty," said Mom, "time to climb into bed, or the Tooth Fairy may visit some other house instead." My tooth was put under my pillow with care, and hoped that the Tooth Fairy soon would be there. I hopped in and nestled all snug in my bed, while visions of fairyland danced in my head. And when what to my wandering eye should appear but a twinkling glow, the Tooth Fairy was here. Her wand, how it glittered, her dimples, how merry, her wings were so sparkly, so light and so airy. She reached under my pillow, I pretended to be sleeping, and slipped my tooth in a pouch where it stayed for safekeeping. I kept one eye open as she fluttered about. Then poof, she was gone without making a sound. I dug under my pillow and felt something funny. All right, the Tooth Fairy left me some money. "Look what I got," I yelled with a whoop and a holler. The Tooth Fairy gave me a spanking new $1. That woke up my brother, who started to cry. When Dad picked him up, we could see why. Now my brother and I both have a new grin. My first tooth came out, his first tooth came in. And that is the Anna and the Tooth Fairy by Maureen Wright, illustrated by Anna Chernyshova. Tooth Fairy will be visiting me soon, so I'm making her a present. I asked Mom, what should the Tooth Fairy's dress look like? Pink and frilly, like Sophie's, she says. Sophie is my baby sister. Babies are okay, but Mom says Sophie is too little to play horsey with me. I don't know how to draw a magic wand, I say. Sophie waves her sparkly rattle. It's a little like Sophie's rattle, Mom says. I add a sparkly wand to my picture. Mom yawns. I'm so tired, she says. Sophie kept me up all night long. I wiggle my loose tooth. The Tooth Fairy stays up all night long, too. She goes around the world collecting teeth and leaving money under pillows. Dad comes home, and I ride on his back, pretending he is my horse. Then he picks up Sophie. Did you get any teeth yet, baby girl? Dad says, Look, Anna, your baby sister is flying. Tooth fairies have to learn how to fly, too. I pick up my Tooth Fairy picture again. Sophie looks just like the Tooth Fairy. Mom and Sophie stays up all night. Dad asked her if she's gotten any teeth yet, and if Sophie is taking flying lessons. My baby sister must be training to be a Tooth Fairy. Maybe Sophie is going to take my tooth when it falls out. I need to help her as much as I can so that she'll be the best Tooth Fairy ever. The next day, I teach her about money. Tooth Fairies have to know these things. Sophie likes my painting, so I let her paint along with me. I tell Sophie that Tooth Fairies have to learn to be very quiet so they can sneak around without anyone hearing them. Tooth Fairies also like sparkly things. Tooth Fairies have to get used to the dark. I gallop over to Sophie with a baby blanket and toss it over her head. Sophie kicks her little feet and laughs. Even though she can't play horsey, my baby sister is more fun than I thought. But before dinner, I asked Mom, can a Tooth Fairy leave her job to come play with me during the day? No, says Mom, she's way too busy to do that. Oh no, that means Sophie's going to leave me when she starts being a Tooth Fairy. The next morning, I get an idea. I'll make sure that I don't lose my tooth. Then my little sister won't have to start her Tooth Fairy job. I try using a bandage to keep my tooth in place, but it doesn't stick. I use a pretty scarf to keep my mouth closed. Sophie pulls it off. Now my tooth is even more wiggly. Every time my tongue touches my tooth, I feel it wiggle back and forth. I don't eat any pizza at dinner, even though it's my favorite food. Little horses have to eat too, says Dad. I shake my head and stomp my foot like a horse. I keep my mouth shut when I put on my pajamas and grab Huckleberry. Mom comes in with Sophie and says, Are you okay? You're awfully quiet. I say, You do know that it doesn't hurt to lose a tooth, right? I finally open my mouth. I know that, but if I lose a tooth, then my little sister will have to go far away. Sophie isn't going anywhere, says Mom. She will always be your little sister. She will, forever and ever, I ask. Yes, says Mom, giving me a hug. You'll both be my girls forever. Hooray! I give my very loose tooth a good wiggle, and out it pops. That's wonderful, says Mom. I put my tooth under my pillow. Mom sets my picture of the Tooth Fairy on the windowsill. Huckleberry and I stay very still and listen for the Tooth Fairy, but we don't hear a thing. In the morning, my tooth is gone, and there are quarters under my pillow. I run to find Sophie to make sure she hasn't flown away. I'm so happy to see her. I kick up my legs like a bucking bronco. I grin at her, and she smiles right back at me. With her very first tooth. And that is the end. Well, guys, I'm really sorry that the Tooth Fairy didn't show today. I guess she is just way too busy collecting teeth from all over the world. We'll get a rain check, I hope, and maybe next year we'll get to see the Tooth Fairy. So for today, we'll just sing our goodbye song and wrap it up. So we clap our hands goodbye. We clap our hands goodbye. With our friends at Storytime, we clap our hands goodbye. We wave our hands goodbye. We wave our hands goodbye. With our friends at Storytime, we wave our hands goodbye. You guys have a good day, and we will see you next time.